Something very powerful is happening, and few are truly prepared. Did you know that your home could hold a source of spiritual protection so strong that it can transform your life and the lives of your loved ones? But here's the catch. If you're not using it the right way, you might actually be doing the opposite, leaving the door open to problems and negative energies. Padre Pio left us a powerful teaching about the crucifix, something most people don't know, but that could be the difference between a blessed home and a vulnerable one. There are common mistakes almost everyone makes without realizing it, and these could be blocking the very blessings that should be reaching you. Have you ever wondered why some homes feel peaceful and full of harmony, while others carry a heavy, tense atmosphere? There's a reason for that. And in this video, we'll reveal what Padre Pio taught about how to truly activate the power of the crucifix in your home. But before we continue, I want you to write in the comments, "I trust in divine protection." This small act of faith could be the first step in opening the doors to blessings in your home. And if this topic speaks to you, make sure to subscribe and leave a like, because this message needs to reach more people who are searching for guidance and protection. Now get ready, because what you're about to discover could change your life forever. Let's begin. The crucifix is not just a decorative object or a simple religious symbol hanging on a wall. It is a shield of protection, a source of blessings, and a barrier against anything that may disturb the peace of a home. For centuries, the homes of those who hold on to their faith have been safeguarded by the presence of the crucifix. Yet few truly understand the magnitude of its power and how it should be used to activate its protection. Padre Pio, a man with a deep spiritual connection, often spoke about the importance of having a crucifix in the home. But he warned that simply owning one was not enough. It had to be placed in the right spot and accompanied by certain practices to unlock its full power. The cross is a reminder of victory over evil, the greatest symbol of redemption and a channel of grace for those who believe in its significance. Too often, people hang a crucifix in their home without giving it the importance it deserves. They place it high on a wall where no one sees it, let it collect dust, or simply forget about it. But what many don't realize is that when the crucifix is used with faith and purpose, it becomes a spiritual barrier that can protect a family from negative influences, conflicts, and hardships that try to enter the home. Padre Pio taught that the crucifix should be placed in key areas of the house. It shouldn't be put just anywhere without thought, but positioned where it can exercise its protective power. One of the most important locations is the main entrance, the gateway through which both people and outside energies enter. Having a crucifix by the front door is like establishing a spiritual shield that prevents anything from disturbing the home's peace. Another crucial place is the living room, where the family gathers and where guests are received. A crucifix in this space helps create harmony and contributes to maintaining a peaceful atmosphere. It is also recommended to have one in the bedrooms, especially in children's rooms, as its presence provides protection during the night and keeps away nightmares or disturbances that could affect restful sleep. Padre Pio also advised having a crucifix in the kitchen, the place where meals are prepared to nourish the family. According to his teachings, this space should be blessed and protected so that abundance and provision are never lacking in the home. But here's the detail many overlook. Placing a crucifix in the home is not enough. It must be activated. For its power to be effective, it should be blessed by a priest. A crucifix without a blessing is like a door without a lock. It has the potential to protect, but it needs to be spiritually activated. Beyond the blessing, Padre Pio emphasized that the family must engage with the crucifix daily. It should not be just another decoration on the wall, but a focal point for prayer and reflection. Every time we walk past it, we can make the sign of the cross, pause for a few seconds, and give thanks for the protection it provides. It is also Highly recommended to pray in front of the crucifix during difficult times. When there are family tensions, worries, or challenging situations, Padre Pio advised lighting a candle next to the crucifix and offering a prayer for clarity and guidance. This simple act strengthens the spiritual connection of the household and helps dispel any negativity. Many families have shared testimonies of noticeable changes in their lives after beginning to honor the crucifix properly. Some have felt a greater sense of peace at home, fewer arguments, and an unexplainable sense of calm. Others have reported financial improvements or finding solutions to problems that once seemed impossible. Padre Pio insisted that the crucifix is not just a tool of protection, it is also a means of transformation. When used with faith, it can help heal illnesses, strengthen family bonds, and bring unexpected blessings. But for this to happen, the family must make the crucifix an active part of their daily life, rather than just an ornament forgotten on the wall. Faith is the key element in unlocking the power of the crucifix. It is not magic or superstition, but a real connection to the profound meaning of the cross. Those who believe in its power and treat it with reverence can experience its true protection. If you already have a crucifix in your home, now is the time to ask yourself, are you using it correctly? Are you receiving its protection, or is it just another object on the wall? And if you don't have one yet, perhaps today is the perfect time to start strengthening the spiritual protection of your home and your family. Padre Pio was a man who lived his life completely devoted to faith. And throughout his journey, he received countless revelations about the power of prayer and sacred objects in protecting homes from spiritual harm. Among all his teachings, one of the most powerful was his message about the crucifix and how its presence in a home can completely transform the atmosphere, strengthen the faith of those who live there, and serve as a shield against negative influences. He always carried a crucifix with him, holding it during prayer and drawing strength from it in times of need. To him, the cross wasn't just a religious symbol, it was an active source of protection and blessings. He warned that many people had a crucifix in their home, without truly understanding its power or knowing how to activate it properly. Padre Pio taught that the crucifix has the ability to change the energy of a home. He said that when placed with faith and reverence, it becomes a beacon of light in the household, radiating a presence that harmonizes, protects, and purifies the environment. Many people have shared stories of how, after properly positioning a crucifix and beginning to interact with it with genuine devotion, their home felt more peaceful, family conflicts eased, and an overwhelming sense of heaviness disappeared completely. But, according to Padre Pio, for a crucifix to truly exert its power in a home, it can't just be hung on a wall as a decorative object. There are key steps that must be followed to ensure its presence has a deep effect on those who live there. The first step is making sure the crucifix has been blessed by a priest. An unblessed crucifix is like a lighthouse with no light. It has the potential to guide and protect, but it needs to be spiritually activated. Holy water used in the blessing consecrates the crucifix, turning it into a real instrument of protection. The second step is placing it in the right location. It shouldn't be tucked away in a corner where no one notices it. It should be given a place of honor, visible and accessible, so the family can interact with it daily. Padre Pio recommended placing the crucifix above the main entrance, in the living room or in bedrooms, especially in children's rooms, to provide nightly protection. The third step is using the crucifix actively in daily life. Padre Pio emphasized that gazing at it with faith, touching it with devotion, and praying before it strengthens a person's spiritual connection with God and brings peace to the home. He advised that every morning and night, each family member should make the sign of the cross before it, offering thanks for protection and asking for blessings. He also spoke of the importance of holding a crucifix while praying. He believed this created a direct link to Christ's sacrifice and helped people remain steadfast in their faith during difficult times. Additionally, he recommended that during illness or family struggles, the crucifix should be placed at the center of the home, while prayers for healing and guidance were offered. Padre Pio also warned about common mistakes people make with the crucifix in their homes. One of the most frequent errors is treating it as just another decoration. Owning a crucifix but never engaging with it is like having a shield but never raising it in battle. It's not enough for it to be on the wall. It must be part of the own spiritual life. Another mistake is placing the crucifix in inappropriate locations, such as storage rooms or dark corners where no one ever looks at it. Padre Pio insisted that it should be in a visible, central location where people spend time, so that its presence serves as a constant reminder of faith and divine protection. He also cautioned against having a damaged or neglected crucifix, as this could send the wrong message. If a crucifix is broken, it should be repaired or replaced with respect, as its presence in the home should always be honored. Over the years, thousands of people have shared testimonies of how their lives changed after beginning to use the crucifix with faith, following Padre Pio's teachings. Some have reported financial struggles resolving unexpectedly. Others have spoken of miraculous healings or long-standing family conflicts that finally found resolution. But the greatest transformation Padre Pio spoke of was not external, it was internal. He said that a home where the crucifix is honored is filled with a special kind of peace, and that peace is reflected in those who live there. Worries feel lighter, tensions ease, and faith grows stronger. The presence of the crucifix in a home is a constant reminder that we are never alone, that hope is always present, and that divine protection is available to all who seek it sincerely. If you already have a crucifix in your home, now is the time to ask yourself, are you truly using it to its full potential? Has it been blessed and placed in the right location? Do you actively engage with it, or is it just another decoration? And if you don't have one yet, this could be the perfect opportunity to bring a special kind of protection into your home. It doesn't matter the size or material. What truly matters is the faith with which you receive it and the way you honor it. Padre Pio left a clear message. The crucifix is not just a symbol, it is a tool of light, a shield against darkness, and a source of blessings for all who believe in its power. Padre Pio, throughout his life, left behind teachings that have profoundly impacted believers around the world. One of his most powerful revelations was about the crucifix and the three great powers it holds when used with true faith: protection against evil, spiritual and physical healing, and the ability to transform lives. To Padre Pio, the crucifix was not just a religious object, but a living channel of grace and blessing, capable of making a real difference in the lives of those who honor it properly. The first power of the crucifix is its protection against evil. According to Padre Pio, when a family places a crucifix in their home and venerates it with faith, they are establishing a spiritual shield that repels negative influences and keeps anything that might disturb the peace of the home at bay. He said that the crucifix acts as a barrier, preventing dark forces, ill intentions, and any kind of spiritual oppression from entering. Many people have shared stories of how, after placing a crucifix in their home with genuine devotion, they stopped experiencing recurring nightmares, felt the atmosphere in their home become lighter, and noticed a significant decrease in arguments and tension among family members. Padre Pio recommended placing the crucifix in strategic locations within the home, especially at the main entrance, above children's beds, and in spaces where the family gathers frequently. He also advised carrying a crucifix at all times, whether worn around the neck or kept in a pocket, as a way to remain under its protection wherever one goes. But he warned that simply owning a crucifix is not enough. Its true protective power is only activated when it is used with faith, respect, and constant prayer. A crucifix that is forgotten on a wall, covered in dust, does not have the same effect as one that is honored daily with devotion and trust in its power. The second power of the crucifix is healing, both spiritual and physical. Padre Pio taught that the cross is the greatest source of healing in existence because it was on the cross that Christ shed his blood for humanity. For this reason, he said that praying before a crucifix with true faith could bring healing to the body and soul. There are countless testimonies of people who, while holding onto a crucifix in moments of illness, felt immediate relief and, in many cases, experienced unexplained recoveries. Padre Pio encouraged the sick to hold a crucifix in their hands and offer their suffering to God, trusting that they would receive the grace of healing. But he didn't just speak of physical healing. To him, the crucifix had an even greater power, spiritual healing. He taught that whenever someone experiences despair, anxiety, or feels lost, they should turn to the crucifix, gaze upon it with an open heart, and ask for help. Many who have struggled with crises of faith, deep depression, or overwhelming hopelessness have found the crucifix to be a source of comfort and strength. By praying before it, they have felt their anguish fade away. A deep sense of peace filled their hearts, and the confidence that God was with them in every step of their journey. The third power of the crucifix, according to Padre Pio, is its power to transform lives. He explained that the crucifix not only protects and heals, but also has the ability to bring about profound change in those who trust in it. In many homes where there were constant problems, a lack of harmony, and financial struggles, the presence of the crucifix has led to surprising transformations. People begin to feel more at peace, relationships within the household become more harmonious, and unexpected blessings start to unfold. Padre Pio taught that by honoring the crucifix, individuals open a direct line of communication with God, allowing divine grace to flow into their lives. Those who have followed this teaching have shared that after placing a crucifix in their home and praying before it daily, they have found solutions to problems that once seemed impossible, received unexpected opportunities, and seen their lives take a new direction filled with blessings. However, for this transformative power to be activated, Padre Pio emphasized that faith must be constant. It is not enough to pray one day and then forget about the cross. A real commitment must be made to trust in it and turn to it in all circumstances, both in times of hardship and in moments of gratitude. He himself was a living testimony to this transformative power. In his moments of greatest suffering, when his body was weakened by illness and the spiritual attacks he endured, the crucifix was his refuge. He would hold it tightly in his hands, gaze upon it with love, and find in it the strength to carry on. He taught that when someone feels weak, exhausted, or without the will to continue, they should cling to the crucifix and remember that the cross is the greatest sign of love and redemption. By looking at it, we are reminded that we are never alone, that our suffering has purpose, and that there is always hope for those who trust in God. Padre Pio left a clear message. The crucifix is not just a decoration or a symbol, it is an instrument of grace with real power. Those who understand this and use it with faith will experience a profound transformation in their lives. If you have a crucifix in your home, now you know that you possess a powerful tool, but it is up to you to activate it through prayer, devotion, and trust. If you do not yet have one, now is the time to bring this source of protection, healing, and transformation into your life. Padre Pio taught us that the crucifix is a constant reminder of God's love, and that, for those who hold on to Its strength, hope, and blessings will never be lacking. The crucifix is a source of protection and blessings, but for its power to truly take effect in a home, it must be used the right way. Padre Pio taught that many people have a crucifix in their house, but are not receiving all the graces they could simply because they make mistakes in where they place it or how they treat it. One of the most common mistakes is treating the crucifix as just another decoration. Many people hang it on a wall, place it on a shelf, or store it away in a box without giving it the attention and reverence it deserves. Padre Pio warned that the crucifix is not just a religious ornament. It is a tool of spiritual protection that requires devotion and active use. A forgotten crucifix covered in dust and neglected in prayer is like a shield that is never lifted in battle. Having it in the home is not enough. It must be interacted with, looked at with faith, and recognized for its power. Another serious mistake is placing it in the wrong locations. Some people put it in spots where no one ever sees it, or in dark, overlooked corners of the house. Others place it in areas full of distractions, like near televisions or computers, where it is easy to ignore. Padre Pio recommended placing the crucifix in strategic locations where it could be seen and honored daily. The best places to position it include the front entrance, acts as a shield protecting the home from the moment someone crosses the doorway. The bedroom, especially above the headboard, providing protection during sleep. The living room, a reminder of faith for the entire family, where it can be seen throughout the day. The kitchen, the space where meals are prepared, making it a place of gratitude for daily provision. The prayer space. If you have an altar or a dedicated place for prayer, the crucifix should be its focal point. Placing the crucifix in an improper location can prevent it from becoming a point of connection to faith. If it is in a spot where it is rarely seen or acknowledged, it is less likely to be turned to in times of need. Another mistake many people make is failing to have the crucifix blessed before placing it in their home. Padre Pio explained that a crucifix blessed by a priest carries special power because it has been consecrated for its sacred purpose. An unblessed crucifix is still a symbol of faith, but it has not yet been spiritually activated with the strength of the Church. That is why one of the first things to do when acquiring a crucifix is to take it to a parish and have a priest bless it. If you already have one at home and are unsure if it has been blessed, you can bring it to church and request this blessing. A very common mistake is not praying in front of the crucifix. Many people have a crucifix in their home, but never take a moment to pray before it. Padre Pio insisted that the power of the crucifix is activated through prayer. Looking at the crucifix with devotion and praying before it opens a direct channel of communication with God. You don't need to say long prayers every day, but taking a few moments to give thanks, ask for protection, and strengthen your faith is essential. Padre Pio also warned against another mistake, keeping a crucifix in poor condition. A broken, rusted, or damaged crucifix should be treated with care. If it can be restored, it should be done respectfully. If it is beyond repair, it should not be discarded in the trash, but taken to a church for proper disposal. Some people believe the physical state of the crucifix doesn't matter, but Padre Pio taught that how we treat sacred objects reflects the importance we give them in our lives. Keeping a crucifix in good condition shows reverence and devotion. Another common mistake is placing the crucifix alongside items that are not in harmony with Christian faith. Some people position it next to esoteric or superstitious objects, which can interfere with its true spiritual power. The crucifix does not need to be accompanied by charms or items that contradict Christian beliefs. Its power comes from its sacred meaning and the faith we place in it. Mixing it with practices or elements outside of Christian teachings can weaken its purpose and create spiritual confusion. A mistake that few people talk about is failing to renew devotion to the crucifix. Many people start off with enthusiasm, praying and asking for protection, but over time they stop paying attention and their connection to the crucifix fades. Padre Pio recommended that from time to time we renew our faith in front of the crucifix. This could be through a special prayer, a moment of reflection, or even by simply cleaning it with care and gratitude. Finally, the greatest mistake of all is not believing in the power of the crucifix. Having it in the home without faith is like carrying an umbrella on a rainy day but never opening it. Its power does not lie just in its presence. It comes from the trust we place in it. Padre Pio insisted that the crucifix is a key that unlocks divine protection, but it is faith that gives it the strength to act. If a person does not believe in its power, they are unlikely to experience the blessings it can bring. If you have made any of these mistakes, don't worry. What matters is that now you have the knowledge to correct them and begin fully embracing the power of the crucifix in your home. Starting today, take a look at where your crucifix is placed in your home. Make sure it has been blessed and commit to praying before it more often. If you don't yet have one, now is the perfect time to get one and begin experiencing its protection and blessings. Padre Pio left us with a clear message. The crucifix is not just an object. It is a channel of grace that can transform your life if you use it with faith. The placement of the crucifix in your home is essential to activate its power of protection and blessing. It's not just about having one, it must be positioned strategically so that its presence can truly impact the lives of your family. Padre Pio taught that there are specific locations where the crucifix should be placed to provide maximum protection, making its spiritual effect even more powerful. One of the most important places to put a crucifix is the main entrance of the home. This is the point where not only people enter, but also the energies that come into the house. According to Padre Pio, when you place a crucifix at the entrance, you establish a spiritual barrier that prevents negative influences from crossing your threshold. A crucifix at the entrance doesn't just protect those living in the home, it also blesses those who visit. It serves as a visible reminder of faith and an invitation for all who enter to do so with respect and harmony. Another essential place is the bedroom, especially above the headboard of the bed. Padre Pio warned that during sleep, people are spiritually more vulnerable. In this state of rest, the soul is more receptive, making it crucial to have special protection against any negative influences. Having a crucifix in the bedroom also brings peace to your rest, preventing nightmares, reducing nighttime anxiety, and offering serenity to those who sleep. It strengthens your connection with God before going to bed and upon waking, reminding you that each day is a new gift from the divine. The living room is another key location where the crucifix should be present. This is where the family spends much of their time together and where guests are received. Padre Pio taught that having a crucifix in the living room helps harmonize relationships and protects the home from conflicts. In many households, disagreements and tensions arise in the living room. Having a crucifix in this space serves as a constant reminder of the importance of love, patience, and respect within the family. Its presence strengthens family unity and blesses every conversation and gathering that takes place there. Another strategic location for the crucifix is the kitchen. Many people don't consider this space for spiritual protection, but Padre Pio taught that the kitchen is where meals are prepared, which nourish both the body and soul of the family. Placing a crucifix in the kitchen blesses the food and attracts abundance into the home. It also helps maintain a peaceful environment while preparing meals, reducing stress and allowing food to be made with love and gratitude. If your home has a prayer space or altar, the crucifix should be at the center of this area. This is where spiritual connection is strongest, where prayers and petitions are made. Padre Pio taught that a crucifix on a personal altar acts as a spiritual amplifier, making prayers more powerful and ensuring they are heard with greater intensity. In this space, it is recommended to light candles and take time daily for reflection and gratitude. While these are the main places where a crucifix should be placed, Padre Pio also recommended having one in other significant areas where you spend time. For example, having a crucifix in your workplace or office can bless your daily tasks and help maintain peace in your work environment. Another ideal location is inside your car. A small crucifix can be placed on the rearview mirror or dashboard, not just as a reminder of faith, but also as protection for every journey, helping prevent accidents and bringing calmness while driving. Now that we know where to place the crucifix, it's important to discuss the correct way to position it. Padre Pio taught that there are certain details to keep in mind to maximize its power of protection and blessing. The crucifix should be placed at a visible and accessible height. It shouldn't be too high, where no one notices it, nor in a place where it is easily overlooked. It should be positioned so that it can be easily seen and honored. Another key factor is ensuring the crucifix is properly secured and straight. If it is crooked or unstable, it should be adjusted to reflect stability and strength. A tilted crucifix can symbolize spiritual instability, so it's important to make sure it is aligned correctly. While size is not the most important factor, it does matter. A crucifix doesn't have to be large to be powerful. What truly matters is the faith with which it is honored. A small crucifix that is cherished and prayed before with devotion can be more impactful than a large one that no one pays attention to. Padre Pio also spoke about the orientation of the crucifix. According to his teachings, the best direction is facing east, where the sun rises. This orientation symbolizes the light of Christ, illuminating the home and strengthening the faith of those within it. Besides placing the crucifix in strategic locations, it's crucial to keep it in good condition. If it becomes damaged, broken, or dirty, it should be cleaned with reverence or replaced with one in better condition. Having a crucifix in your home is a privilege, but its true power is only activated when it is placed in the right location and honored with faith and devotion. It's not enough to hang it on a wall and forget about it. It should serve as a point of connection to faith and a daily reminder of divine protection. Padre Pio left us this knowledge so that every home could become a refuge of peace, love, and blessings. If you don't yet have a crucifix in the proper places in your home, now is the perfect time to make this change and begin experiencing its protection. Now that you know the most strategic places to place a crucifix, take a moment to examine your home and ensure it is positioned correctly. If you don't have one yet, find a crucifix that represents your faith and place it in the right spot. Every time you look at the crucifix, remember that it is not just a symbol, it is a source of strength and protection for you and your family. Padre Pio taught that praying in front of the crucifix holds special power at certain times of the day. It's not just about praying when we have free time. It's about recognizing the moments when the spiritual connection is strongest and when our prayers can be heard with greater clarity. According to Padre Pio, there are two specific times when the veil between heaven and earth is thinnest: 3 a.m. and 3 p.m. These times are not a coincidence. They carry deep spiritual significance that has been recognized throughout the history of faith. 3 p.m. is known as the hour of mercy. This is the exact moment when Jesus surrendered his spirit on the cross. It is the hour when the greatest sacrifice for humanity was completed and when divine mercy was poured out upon the world. Praying before the crucifix at 3 p.m. is a way to unite ourselves with Christ's sacrifice, to remember his unconditional love, and to ask for forgiveness for our sins. It's a time when heaven is more open to receiving our prayers, allowing us to intercede for our families, loved ones, and personal needs. Many people who have adopted the habit of praying at this hour have reported remarkable experiences. They say they feel an unexplainable peace, that their prayers seem to be answered more quickly, and that even in their most difficult moments, they find the strength to keep moving forward. Padre Pio recommended that, at this hour, in addition to personal prayers, we should pray the Rosary and meditate on the Passion of Christ. Reflecting on his sacrifice helps us understand the depth of our faith and strengthens our relationship with God. On the other hand, 3 a.m. carries a different but equally powerful spiritual meaning. This is the time when the darkness of night reaches its peak, just before the first light of dawn begins to appear. In Christian tradition, it is believed that this is the hour when spiritual attacks can be most intense. However, it is also the time when prayer has extraordinary power to dispel darkness and strengthen the soul. Padre Pio recommended prayer at this hour for those who struggle with anxiety, insomnia, or spiritual restlessness. Often, our problems and worries seem heavier at night, but praying before the crucifix at 3 a.m. can bring calm, protection, and mental clarity. Those who have followed this teaching report that praying at this time brings relief during crises, helps lighten their burdens, and slowly removes any feelings of fear. But there's something even more important to understand. It's not enough to pray at these hours occasionally. Padre Pio taught that consistency is key. Establishing a regular prayer routine at these times helps strengthen our spirituality and creates a habit that brings peace and blessings into our lives. One recommended practice is to set up a small prayer space with a crucifix and blessed candles. At 3 p.m. or 3 a.m., you can light a candle as a symbol of your faith and dedicate a few moments to prayer. Your prayers don't have to be long. Sometimes, a few heartfelt words have more impact than long prayers said without true devotion. The most important thing is that in those moments, we open our hearts and trust completely. Padre Pio also suggested offering prayers at these hours for the souls in purgatory. It is believed that at 3 a.m. in particular, souls who have not yet reached divine light can receive comfort through our prayers. This is a way to practice spiritual charity, to help those who have left this world but still need our intercessions to reach eternal peace. Another important point is that prayer at these times doesn't just benefit our spirit, it also affects our home and surroundings. Families who have adopted this practice report greater harmony in their homes, fewer conflicts, and an atmosphere of peace that is even noticeable to visitors. Padre Pio always emphasized that the power of prayer is real, but we must learn to use it with discipline and faith. It is not about magic or superstition, it's about building a genuine relationship with God through prayer at the times when heaven is closest to earth. If you can't pray at these times every single day, try to do so during key moments when you face difficulties or need clarity for an important decision. Many people have shared that when they wake up unexpectedly at 3 a.m. for no reason, they have decided to take advantage of the moment to pray, and they have felt deep relief and a special connection with the divine. If this ever happens to you, don't ignore it. See it as an invitation to pray and reflect. Maybe at that moment, someone needs your intercession, or perhaps God is calling you to strengthen your faith. Padre Pio left us this wisdom so that we could use time as an advantage on our spiritual journey. Knowing when to pray is just as important as knowing what to pray. Now that you know this revelation from Padre Pio, are you willing to take on the challenge of praying at these hours? Start today and discover for yourself the power of prayer when heaven is closest to earth. Padre Pio taught that the crucifix is not just a symbol of faith for adults. It has a profound impact on children as well. From an early age, children are especially receptive to spiritual influences, both good and bad. That's why he emphasized the importance of introducing the crucifix into their lives to strengthen their faith and protect them from anything that could lead them away from the right path. Many parents underestimate the power of teaching their children the meaning of the crucifix. They believe that taking them to church or teaching them a few prayers is enough, but they don't realize that children need a visual and tangible connection to their faith. A crucifix in the home serves as a constant reminder of God's presence and becomes a spiritual reference point as they grow. Padre Pio explained that when children frequently see a crucifix and understand its meaning, their faith strengthens naturally. It's not just a religious decoration on the wall, it's a source of protection and guidance that accompanies them throughout their development. A child who grows up seeing the crucifix at home develops a deeper awareness of Christ's sacrifice and learns to turn to prayer in difficult moments. From a spiritual perspective, children raised in homes where the crucifix is honored are often more receptive to faith and less influenced by negative distractions. In a world full of misleading values, constant distractions, and attacks on spirituality, it is critical for children to have a strong foundation in their faith. Padre Pio insisted that parents should talk to their children about the crucifix from an early age. There's no need for complicated words or difficult theological explanations. It's enough to tell them that the crucifix is a sign of God's love and that every time they look at it, they should remember that they are never alone. One of Padre Pio's key recommendations was to place a crucifix in a child's bedroom. This simple yet powerful act creates an atmosphere of peace and protection in their personal space. Many parents who have followed this advice have noticed that their children sleep better, have fewer nightmares, and show a calmer and more peaceful attitude during the day. A crucifix in a child's room can also serve as a source of comfort during moments of fear or uncertainty. When a child learns to say a quick prayer whenever they feel scared, they develop a habit of trusting in God and finding peace in their faith. Padre Pio also recommended teaching children to make the sign of the cross every time they pass by a crucifix. This simple gesture helps them recognize the importance of God's presence in their daily lives and maintain a constant connection with their spirituality. Teaching children to pray in front of the crucifix before bed is another powerful practice. Instead of just reciting memorized prayers, it's important for them to speak to God freely, thanking Him for the day and asking for protection for their family. This habit helps them develop a personal relationship with their faith, rather than seeing it as just another obligation. Padre Pio also spoke about the importance of parental example. A child who sees their parents praying in front of the crucifix or treating it with respect will naturally learn to do the same. But if the crucifix is just a decoration with no real meaning, the child won't understand its true value. In a world where external influences can be harmful to children, the crucifix acts as a spiritual shield. Children are constantly exposed to ideas that can confuse them and pull them away from faith. But when their foundation is strong at home, they are less likely to be influenced by beliefs that go against Christian principles. Padre Pio taught that a child's spiritual protection begins in their own home. Parents cannot rely solely on schools or churches to teach them everything. Faith must be nurtured at home, and the crucifix should be a central part of that education. Many families have noticed positive changes in their children's behavior after incorporating the crucifix into their daily routines. Restless children who struggled to focus on prayer began showing more interest in God. Others found comfort in the crucifix during moments of sadness or confusion. The impact of the crucifix on a child's life goes beyond faith. It also influences their character and relationships. A child who grows up understanding the love and sacrifice of Christ is more likely to develop compassion, patience, and respect for others. Padre Pio left us with many teachings about the importance of the crucifix in the home, and one of the most powerful is that children who grow up with the presence of the cross in their lives carry a spiritual strength that stays with them into adulthood. Padre Pio taught that the crucifix is not just a symbol of faith for adults, it has a profound impact on children as well. From an early age, children are especially receptive to spiritual influences, both good and bad. That's why he emphasized the importance of introducing the crucifix into their lives to strengthen their faith and protect them from anything that could lead them away from the right path. Many parents underestimate the power of teaching their children the meaning of the crucifix. They believe that taking them to church or teaching them a few prayers is enough, but they don't realize that children need a visual and tangible connection to their faith. A crucifix in the home serves as a constant reminder of God's presence and becomes a spiritual reference point as they grow. Padre Pio explained that when children frequently see a crucifix and understand its meaning, their faith strengthens naturally. It's not just a religious decoration on the wall, it's a source of protection and guidance that accompanies them throughout their development. A child who grows up seeing the crucifix at home develops a deeper awareness of Christ's sacrifice and learns to turn to prayer in difficult moments. From a spiritual perspective, children raised in homes where the crucifix is honored are often more receptive to faith and less influenced by negative distractions. In a world full of misleading values, constant distractions, and attacks on spirituality, it is critical for children to have a strong foundation in their faith. Padre Pio insisted that parents should talk to their children about the crucifix from an early age. There's no need for complicated words or difficult theological explanations. It's enough to tell them that the crucifix is a sign of God's love, and that every time they look at it, they should remember that they are never alone. One of Padre Pio's key recommendations was to place a crucifix in a child's bedroom. This simple yet powerful act creates an atmosphere of peace and protection in their personal space. Many parents who have followed this advice have noticed that their children sleep better, have fewer nightmares, and show a calmer and more peaceful attitude during the day. A crucifix in a child's room can also serve as a source of comfort during moments of fear or uncertainty. When a child learns to say a quick prayer whenever they feel scared, they develop a habit of trusting in God and finding peace in their faith. Padre Pio also recommended teaching children to make the sign of the cross every time they pass by a crucifix. This simple gesture helps them recognize the importance of God's presence in their daily lives and maintain a constant connection with their spirituality. Teaching children to pray in front of the crucifix before bed is another powerful practice. Instead of just reciting memorized prayers, it's important for them to speak to God freely, thanking Him for the day and asking for protection for their family. This habit helps them develop a personal relationship with their faith, rather than seeing it as just another obligation. Padre Pio also spoke about the importance of parental example. A child who sees their parents praying in front of the crucifix or treating it with respect will naturally learn to do the same. But if the crucifix is just a decoration with no real meaning, the child won't understand its true value. In a world where external influences can be harmful to children, the crucifix acts as a spiritual shield. Children are constantly exposed to ideas that can confuse them and pull them away from faith. But when their foundation is strong at home, they are less likely to be influenced by beliefs that go against Christian principles. Padre Pio taught that a child's spiritual protection begins in their own home. Parents cannot rely solely on schools or churches to teach them everything. Faith must be nurtured at home, and the crucifix should be a central part of that education. Many families have noticed positive changes in their children's behavior after incorporating the crucifix into their daily routines. Restless children who struggled to focus on prayer began showing more interest in God. Others found comfort in the crucifix during moments of sadness or confusion. The impact of the crucifix on a child's life goes beyond faith. It also influences their character and relationships. A child who grows up understanding the love and sacrifice of Christ is more likely to develop compassion, patience, and respect for others. Padre Pio left us with many teachings about the importance of the crucifix in the home, and one of the most powerful is that children who grow up with the presence of the cross in their lives carry a spiritual strength that stays with them into adulthood. If you haven't yet placed a crucifix in your child's room, or haven't taught them about its importance, now is the time to start. Never underestimate the impact it can have on their life. A simple habit like teaching them to look at the crucifix before bed or say a short prayer can make a lifelong difference. Today's world is filled with distractions and challenges to a young person's faith. But when a child grows up knowing that the crucifix is a symbol of love and protection, they build a strong foundation that helps them face any challenge life brings. Just as Padre Pio taught us, let's make sure our children grow up under the shadow of the crucifix, with their eyes on Christ and their hearts protected by faith. Padre Pio taught that family prayer in front of the crucifix has the power to heal relationships, restore peace, and strengthen the bonds between loved ones. In today's fast-paced world, many families struggle with disconnection, misunderstandings, and a lack of quality time together. But by making the crucifix a central part of family life, they can create a spiritual refuge that brings harmony and unity into the home. Many families today live under the same roof, but feel disconnected from one another. Each person is wrapped up in their own responsibilities, worries, and distractions, especially technology. But faith can become the bridge that reunites them. The crucifix in the home is not just a personal devotional symbol. It is a gathering place where families can come together in prayer, reflection, and healing. Padre Pio firmly believed in the power of family prayer. He taught that it is not just an act of faith, but also a moment of reconciliation and renewal. When a family prays together in front of the crucifix, they are placing Christ at the center of their lives. This simple yet powerful act can transform relationships, bringing peace, understanding, and love to households facing challenges. One of the biggest mistakes families make is treating the crucifix as a decoration rather than an active source of protection and unity. Padre Pio reminded us that the crucifix should be a focal point in the home, a place where family members can stop, pray, and be reminded that love and faith are the most important foundations of family life. How to strengthen family bonds. Through the crucifix, to experience the true power of the crucifix in family life, it is essential to establish specific moments of prayer together. Many family conflicts arise from a lack of communication, emotional wounds, and unspoken burdens. However, when family members gather in front of the crucifix and pray together, it opens the door to dialogue, understanding, and healing. Padre Pio recommended that families set aside at least one day a week to pray together in front of the crucifix. This doesn't have to be a long or complicated prayer, just a few minutes of gratitude and a simple request for God's protection over the home. During this time, each family member can share their worries, ask for blessings, and thank God for His grace. When a family prays together in front of the crucifix, the atmosphere in the home begins to change. Resentments start to fade, arguments become less frequent, and hearts open up to forgiveness. Padre Pio taught that family prayer strengthens relationships between spouses, parents and children, and siblings. It serves as a reminder that family is not just a biological connection, but a spiritual one that must be nurtured with love and faith. Daily rituals to unite the family in prayer. In addition to weekly family prayer, Padre Pio encouraged families to pray together in front of the crucifix before bedtime. This simple but powerful habit brings peace and spiritual protection into the home. Taking a few minutes before sleep to thank God and ask for His blessings creates a sense of security and comfort for the entire household. Another ideal moment to reinforce family unity through the crucifix is before meals. Blessing the food in front of the crucifix and giving thanks for daily provisions helps the family stay connected in faith and remember the importance of gratitude. When a family takes time to pray before eating, they acknowledge that everything they have is a gift from God and that it should be shared with love and appreciation. Padre Pio also taught that whenever a family faces difficulties, whether illness, financial struggles, or conflicts, they should turn to the crucifix with even greater devotion. Whether it's a serious problem or a small disagreement, prayer before the crucifix can bring clarity, comfort, and unexpected solutions. Many families have experienced profound changes in their relationships simply by making prayer before the crucifix a regular habit. Teaching children the power of the crucifix. A key lesson from Padre Pio was that children should be actively involved in these moments of prayer. Young minds absorb faith through experience, and they must grow up understanding that the crucifix is not just an object, but a source of love and protection. When children see their parents and siblings praying in front of the crucifix, they naturally learn to do the same. If they grow up with prayer as a normal part of daily life, they will carry this spiritual foundation into adulthood. The crucifix can also serve as a tool for reconciliation within the family. In moments of tension or disagreement, taking a few minutes to pray together before the crucifix can completely shift the energy in the home. When a husband and wife are struggling, praying together softens hearts and restores mutual understanding. The same is true for parent-child relationships and sibling conflicts. Transforming the home with the presence of the crucifix, many families have shared testimonies of how the crucifix has changed their home environment. Those who once struggled with poor communication began speaking with more patience and kindness. Arguments that were once frequent became rare, and the atmosphere in the home became filled with peace and harmony. Padre Pio taught that when Christ is at the center of a home, blessings multiply. But this requires commitment from the family. Prayer should not be something done only in times of crisis, but a regular practice that invites God's presence into daily life. One powerful tradition is for each family member to touch the crucifix before leaving the house. This gesture symbolizes that they are carrying Christ's protection with them wherever they go. Likewise, when they return home, taking a moment to give thanks in front of the crucifix reinforces gratitude and faith. To ensure that the crucifix truly strengthens family bonds, it must not be treated as just another decoration. It should be placed in a visible and central location in the home, where prayer can happen naturally and family members can turn to it for strength and guidance. A family that prays together stays together. Padre Pio left us with a powerful message. A family that prays together stays together. No matter how difficult times may be, when faith is the foundation of a household, any challenge can be overcome. If you haven't yet introduced family prayer before the crucifix into your home, now is the perfect time to start. Take the first step today, and you will begin to see how peace, unity, and blessings start to flow within your family. Throughout history, thousands of believers have shared testimonies of unexpected healings and physical and spiritual improvements that they attribute to the presence of the crucifix in their homes. This is no coincidence. Padre Pio taught that the crucifix is much more than a religious symbol. It is a channel of protection and blessing that can bring relief to those who receive it with faith and devotion. We live in times when illness, stress, and anxiety affect many families. Concerns about physical and mental health have never been greater, but Padre Pio left us a clear teaching. Prayer before the crucifix can be a means of receiving strength, healing, and protection against all kinds of afflictions. In homes where the crucifix is honored with devotion, many people report that illnesses decrease, physical discomfort eases, and recovery after surgery or medical treatment is faster. Padre Pio explained that when a person prays with faith before the crucifix, their body and soul receive a healing energy that helps in the natural healing processes of the body. There is something even deeper in this teaching. The crucifix not only protects against physical illnesses, but also against the illnesses of the soul, sadness, despair, fear, and anguish. Many times, emotional and spiritual struggles manifest as physical symptoms, weakening the immune system and making us more vulnerable to sickness. Padre Pio warned that stress, anger, and a lack of inner peace can open the door to various ailments. This is why he recommended placing a crucifix in the bedroom and another in the home's main living space. He assured that the presence of the crucifix creates an atmosphere of peace that strengthens not only the spirit, but also the body. Numerous testimonies confirm this teaching. People suffering from insomnia began sleeping better after saying a short prayer before the crucifix at night. Those who lived with constant pain found relief after offering their suffering to God in prayer. Entire families who experienced tension and anxiety felt calm returned to their home through the simple act of praying before the crucifix. Padre Pio taught that faith has real power over health. This does not mean we should abandon medical treatments or ignore doctors' advice, but rather that we should complement them with a life of prayer and trust in God. Just as we take care of our bodies with proper nutrition and medicine, we must also strengthen our spirit with the presence of the crucifix in our homes. One of the practices Padre Pio recommended was placing a crucifix in the room of someone who was ill. He assured that this simple act brought comfort, hope, and in many cases, improvement in recovery. It is not uncommon to hear testimonies of people who have felt a comforting presence in the most difficult moments of their illnesses, as if Christ himself were giving them strength through his image on the crucifix. The crucifix is also a powerful protection against spiritual attacks that can affect our health. Many people have experienced anxiety, fear, and distress without any apparent cause, feeling a heaviness in the atmosphere of their home. Padre Pio warned that spiritual attacks can manifest in different ways, even impacting physical well-being. In such cases, he recommended holding the crucifix while praying for protection and healing. To fully receive the blessings of the crucifix at home, Padre Pio taught that it must be used correctly. It is not enough to simply hang it on a wall and forget about it. It must become a place of daily encounter with faith, where each member of the family can approach it in prayer. Another practice he recommended was making the sign of the cross with the crucifix each morning, upon waking and each night before sleeping. This simple gesture helps strengthen one's connection with God and serves as a reminder that divine protection is always present. Holy water can also be used alongside the crucifix to reinforce its protective power. Padre Pio advised that in moments of illness or weakness, one should pray while holding the crucifix in one hand and apply holy water to the forehead or hands of the sick person. This act symbolizes faith in God's mercy and in his ability to heal. Many people facing illness lose hope, become overwhelmed by fear, and feel alone in their suffering. But the crucifix reminds us that Christ also suffered, that he understands our pain and that he never abandons us in times of difficulty. Padre Pio taught that by looking at the crucifix with faith, we can find the comfort we need to endure any illness. In moments of greatest pain, we only need to fix our gaze on Christ on the cross and remember that he sustains us at all times. In hospitals and healthcare centers where a crucifix is present, many people feel a special peace. It is not just an object. It is a reminder that God's love and mercy are present even in our greatest suffering. Padre Pio also insisted on the importance of teaching children to see the crucifix as a source of healing and protection. Children are especially sensitive to the energies around them, and when they grow up in a home where the crucifix is honored with respect, they develop a stronger faith and a greater sense of security. For those suffering from chronic or prolonged illnesses, Padre Pio recommended taking a moment each day to pray before the crucifix, asking for strength and acceptance. He assured that even in cases where physical healing does not come immediately, the peace and resilience gained through prayer make suffering more bearable. When we have a crucifix at home and use it as a channel for prayer, we create an environment where healing and peace can flourish. Faith does not replace medicine, but it does complement it, helping our minds and hearts stay in harmony as we face any difficulty. The crucifix is a shield against the illnesses of the body, mind, and soul. It reminds us that we are never alone, that Christ is with us in every trial, and that with faith and prayer, we can find relief and strength to move forward. If you do not yet have a crucifix in your home, now is the time to bring one into your life. Not as a simple decorative object, but as a real source of protection, healing, and blessing for your entire family. Throughout history, many people have faced financial difficulties, uncertainty, and worries about a lack of resources. However, Padre Pio taught that the crucifix, when honored with true faith, can be a powerful channel of blessings, not only spiritual, but also material. For many, it is difficult to believe that prosperity and faith are connected, but Padre Pio insisted that when we live with devotion and honor Christ's presence in our home, the doors to abundance open in unexpected ways. This is not about magic or instant solutions, but about living in harmony with spiritual principles that allow blessings to flow naturally. Padre Pio explained that prosperity is not just about money, it is about finding stability, peace, and opportunities that allow us to live with dignity. In his teachings, he spoke of how the crucifix acts as a magnet for blessings when placed in the right locations and respected with true devotion. One of the first principles he taught was that the crucifix should be placed in a visible area of the home, especially at the main entrance and in the living room, where the family gathers. He assured that this not only brings spiritual protection, but also helps maintain an atmosphere of harmony that favors the arrival of financial opportunities. Many people have shared surprising testimonies about how, after placing a crucifix in their home and beginning to pray with faith, they started to notice changes in their financial situation. Some found new jobs, others managed to pay off debts. That seemed impossible, and many discovered new ways to generate income without having planned for them. Padre Pio explained that when a home is spiritually aligned and protected by the crucifix, the negative energy that blocks prosperity begins to dissipate. This does not mean that money will fall from the sky without effort, but rather that people will receive the clarity, strength, and inspiration needed to make the best financial decisions. One of the most common mistakes that prevent prosperity from entering a home is a lack of gratitude. Padre Pio insisted that gratitude is the key that opens the doors to abundance. Many times people focus on what they lack instead of appreciating what they already have. For this reason, he recommended that every time a person receives money, even a small amount, they take a moment to give thanks before the crucifix. Another powerful practice he taught was the daily prayer for provision. He explained that God always provides for those who trust in him and work with effort and honesty. He recommended that each morning, before starting the day, a short prayer be said before the crucifix, asking for wisdom to make good financial decisions and manage resources wisely. Padre Pio also warned about the danger of greed and excessive attachment to money. He taught that true prosperity is not about accumulating wealth without purpose, but about sharing what we have and living with generosity. Many times, those who struggle the most financially are those who fear giving, believing that if they share, they will have less. However, he explained that giving with love and faith opens even more doors to abundance. A common testimony among those who follow his teachings is of people who, in moments of need, decided to help someone else despite their own difficulties. Shortly after, they received an unexpected blessing, such as a raise, a job offer, or a resolution to a financial problem that seemed impossible to solve. Padre Pio also spoke about the importance of maintaining an orderly home, as clutter and unnecessary accumulation of objects can block the flow of energy and affect financial stability. In his teachings, he recommended a spiritual cleansing of the home, getting rid of what is no longer needed and ensuring that the crucifix occupies a place of honor. Additionally, he taught that the crucifix can be a powerful tool to break cycles of poverty and scarcity that have affected a family for generations. He explained that when someone in the family makes the decision to honor the crucifix with faith, a transformation process begins that impacts not only their own life, but also that of their children and future generations. Padre Pio recommended a special prayer for those facing financial difficulties. This prayer should be said while holding the crucifix, asking for blessings and wisdom to find solutions and opportunities. He insisted that by praying with confidence, faith is strengthened, and paths that once seemed impossible begin to open. Many people who have followed these teachings have noticed that their income becomes more stable. They find new ways to generate resources, and they manage their finances more effectively. It is not a change that happens overnight, but over time, the transformation becomes evident. He also taught that one of the most effective ways to ensure provision in the home is to dedicate one's work and daily efforts to the crucifix. He explained that before starting any job or activity, a short prayer should be said, asking that everything be guided by divine will. People who have followed this practice have shared testimonies of how their businesses prospered, how they found jobs better than expected, and how they managed to pay off debts that had been accumulating for years. Padre Pio's message is clear. When we place our trust in God and use the crucifix as a constant reminder of His presence in our lives, everything begins to align positively. Faith gives us the strength to work with determination, the wisdom to manage our resources well, and the peace to not live in fear of the future. If you are currently facing financial difficulties, do not lose hope. Place a crucifix in your home. Dedicate time to prayer, be grateful for what you have, and stay open to the opportunities that God may place in your path. Prosperity is not just about money. It is about living with fulfillment, security, and peace in your heart. Remember that Padre Pio left us this powerful message. The crucifix is not just a symbol of faith, but a key that can open the doors to blessings in all areas of our lives, including finances. True prosperity comes when we trust in divine provision and live with gratitude, generosity, and unwavering faith. Throughout many homes, a crucifix hangs on the wall, but is it truly fulfilling its purpose of protection and blessing? Padre Pio taught that the crucifix is not just a decorative object, but a powerful source of grace when used correctly. Simply, having it at home is not enough. It must be activated through faith, prayer, and reverence so that its power can truly transform the environment and the lives of those who dwell there. Padre Pio often emphasized that many people do not receive all the blessings the crucifix can bring because they do not honor it properly. Too often, it sits in a forgotten corner, covered in dust, neglected, and lacking the devotion it deserves. To fully activate its power, it must be treated with reverence and serve as a constant reminder of faith within the home. One of the first recommendations from Padre Pio was to have the crucifix blessed by a priest before placing it in the home. He explained that this blessing not only consecrates the object, but also opens a spiritual channel that strengthens the home's protection. While an unblessed crucifix still holds meaning, one that has received a priestly blessing carries an even greater spiritual charge. Placement is also crucial. Padre Pio revealed that there are specific locations where the crucifix should be placed to maximize its influence. The main entrance of the home is one of the most important locations, as it acts as a spiritual shield against any negative energy attempting to enter. The bedroom is another key place, as during sleep we are more spiritually vulnerable, and the crucifix ensures a sense of peace and protection. Padre Pio also stressed the importance of daily prayer before the crucifix. It is not enough to simply look at it. It should serve as a point of connection with its deep meaning. Every morning and evening, one should take a moment to express gratitude, seek protection, and renew their commitment to faith. A simple yet powerful practice is to make the sign of the cross when passing by the crucifix, reinforcing its constant presence in daily life. Specific prayers recommended by Padre Pio include the Our Father, the Hail Mary, and the Glory Be, recited with devotion and the intention of receiving peace and protection. He also advised praying the Rosary before the crucifix at least once a week, stating that this practice amplifies its spiritual power within the home. One deeply meaningful act that Padre Pio encouraged was kissing the crucifix at the beginning and end of each day. This gesture symbolizes love and respect for Christ's sacrifice and helps to strengthen one's spiritual connection to faith. Lighting a candle before the crucifix during deep prayer or when seeking divine guidance in difficult situations can also enhance this connection. Padre Pio taught that the crucifix is also a tool for both spiritual and physical healing. He advised that those facing health issues place the crucifix on their chest while praying, asking for healing. He also recommended that people suffering from anxiety, distress, or insomnia sleep with a crucifix near their bed or even in their hands. To keep its power active, the crucifix must be treated with respect at all times. It should not be placed in inappropriate locations or handled with indifference. Instead, it should be a central focus in family life, a daily reminder of faith and God's love. Padre Pio suggested that at least once a month, the crucifix be carefully cleaned while offering a prayer to renew its presence and influence in the home. Another important lesson from Padre Pio was that faith and commitment to prayer are essential for activating the power of the crucifix. Simply having it at home does not automatically bring blessings. It requires time dedicated to prayer, reflection, and strengthening the family's spirituality. When the crucifix is honored with devotion, it becomes a powerful force of transformation. Many families who have followed these teachings have experienced significant changes. Homes that were once filled with conflict found peace. Those struggling with health issues felt relief, and people who lived in despair found renewed hope. These changes are not coincidences, but the result of a genuine spiritual connection with the crucifix and its divine power. Padre Pio warned that spiritual enemies constantly try to weaken people's faith, and one of their strategies is to make believers lose respect for and connection with the crucifix. He therefore advised reinforcing its presence in the home and dedicating time to deepening devotion. so that the home remains a place of spiritual protection. One additional recommendation from Padre Pio was for families to pray together before the crucifix at least once a week. He explained that this practice strengthens family bonds, reduces tensions, and creates an atmosphere of love and peace within the household. The length of the prayer does not matter. What matters is that it is done with sincerity and faith, inviting the crucifix's blessings into the home. The crucifix can also be used during moments of important decision-making. Padre Pio taught that when someone faces a difficult situation and is unsure of which path to take, they should pray before the crucifix, asking for wisdom and clarity. Many have testified that, after doing so, they have found unexpected answers and felt an inner peace that guided them to the right choice. It also serves as a symbol of protection during travel. Padre Pio recommended that before leaving home, people pray before the crucifix, asking for safety on their journey. He also suggested that those who drive keep a small crucifix in their car as a sign of divine protection on the road. When activated correctly, the power of the crucifix begins to bring noticeable changes. Worries become easier to manage, peace fills the home, and blessings flow more abundantly. This is not superstition or magic, but the result of a strengthened faith and a true commitment to spirituality. If you feel the need for more protection, peace, and guidance in your life, begin today by activating the power of the crucifix in your home. Place it in a strategic location, dedicate time to prayer, and reinforce your connection to faith. As Padre Pio said, the crucifix is not just a symbol. It is a doorway that connects us to divine protection. Throughout history, thousands of people have experienced astonishing miracles by using the crucifix with true faith. These are not mere coincidences, but real testimonies that reveal how this sacred symbol has the power to transform lives. Padre Pio always taught that the crucifix is not just an ornament, but a source of protection, healing, and blessings. Today, we'll explore incredible stories of people who witnessed extraordinary experiences by trusting in its power. One of the most moving testimonies comes from a mother who, desperate over her child's illness, placed a crucifix above his bed and prayed with deep devotion. Her son had been diagnosed with a severe condition, and doctors offered little hope for recovery. However, after days of relentless prayer, the boy began to improve unexpectedly. The doctors could not explain the sudden turnaround, but the mother knew she had received a special grace. From that moment on, the crucifix became a symbol of faith and hope in her home. Another powerful story involves a man facing extreme financial hardship. He lost his job, accumulated debt, and saw no way out of his situation. Remembering Padre Pio's teachings, he placed a crucifix above the main door of his home, asking for divine assistance. Every morning and night he prayed before it with unwavering faith. On the 8th day, he received an unexpected job offer with a better salary than he had imagined. To him, this was not mere luck, but proof of the power of the crucifix when used with devotion. Miracles linked to the crucifix are not limited to physical healings or financial breakthroughs. Many people have shared how they found inner peace and emotional healing through prayer in front of the cross. One woman who struggled with anxiety and panic attacks shared that after following the advice to pray the rosary while holding a crucifix, her life began to change. Over time, her episodes of anxiety became less frequent, and she regained her sense of calm. Another remarkable testimony comes from a family plagued by constant conflicts, arguments between parents and children, frequent misunderstandings, and a tense atmosphere had turned their home into a place of suffering. After learning about Padre Pio's teachings, they decided to pray daily in front of the crucifix, asking for peace and reconciliation. As the days passed, they noticed a transformation. The fights diminished, communication improved, and the family began to feel more united. What once seemed impossible became a reality through faith and the power of the crucifix. Protection from physical danger is also a recurring theme in the testimonies of those who have experienced miracles through the crucifix. In a chilling case, a man traveling in his car was involved in a severe accident. His vehicle was completely wrecked, but he emerged unharmed. While examining the wreckage, he found his crucifix hanging intact from the rearview mirror. To him, there was no doubt that the cross had protected him from tragedy. Stories of protection also include experiences of people who felt a dark presence in their homes and restored peace by placing a crucifix in every room and praying with devotion. One woman recounted that for several nights she sensed an unsettling energy in her home that kept her from sleeping. Following a priest's advice, she sprinkled holy water on a crucifix and placed it in her bedroom. From that night on, the feeling of unease disappeared, and she was able to sleep peacefully. Even children, without fully understanding the meaning of the crucifix, have demonstrated a special connection to its power. One father shared that his young son, without any prior instruction, began kissing the crucifix every night before bed and saying a spontaneous prayer. Shortly afterward, the child stopped having nightmares and started sleeping soundly. This deeply moved the family, who saw it as a sign that the crucifix was acting as a protective shield over their child. These testimonies are not isolated cases. Over the years, many have discovered that the crucifix is a source of strength in times of uncertainty, a light in moments of darkness, and a refuge in times of need. Padre Pio always taught that the key to receiving these blessings is genuine faith and consistency in prayer. It is not about superstition or magic, but about a real connection with the divine through the sacrifice represented on the cross. There is something essential that Padre Pio taught about miracles associated with the crucifix. They do not always happen immediately, but those who persevere in prayer and keep their faith will eventually see God's hand working in their lives. For those seeking a sign or needing an answer, Padre Pio recommended making an act of faith by placing the crucifix in a special place in the home and dedicating a few minutes each day to praying with devotion. Many who have followed this advice have experienced profound changes in their personal, family, and spiritual lives. Each of these testimonies reinforces a fundamental truth. The crucifix is not just a decorative object, but a channel of blessing for those who believe in its power and use it correctly. If you feel that certain areas of your life need transformation, consider following these examples and making the crucifix an active part of your daily life. There is no better time than now to renew your faith and allow the crucifix to bring peace, protection, and blessings into your home. If you know someone who needs to hear these testimonies, share this message and help them discover the power of the crucifix in their life. Over the years, many people have experienced the presence of the crucifix in powerful ways, but there is something Padre Pio made very clear in his teachings. It is not enough to simply have it in your home. You must honor it properly. Today, this is a special call for those who seek protection, peace, and blessings through the crucifix. This is not a random message, but a direct invitation to renew your faith and allow the cross to transform your life if you accept it with devotion. Padre Pio taught that the crucifix is a constant reminder of the ultimate sacrifice, a symbol of unconditional love and a source of strength in the most difficult moments. However, many people own crucifixes without giving them the respect and importance they deserve. Some are kept in drawers, hung on walls without much thought, or even treated as mere decorations without any spiritual meaning. But today, that must change. Today is the day you can choose to give the crucifix the place of honor it deserves in your life and your home. If you have ever felt the need for a sign, for greater protection, or for a positive change in your life, this is your opportunity to start fresh with an act of faith. Padre Pio's message was clear. The crucifix should not only be present in the home, but also in the hearts of those who live there. It is about recognizing its power, learning to pray with it, and allowing its presence to guide each step you take. Many believers who have followed this teaching have experienced incredible changes in their spiritual, emotional, and even material lives. How can you begin honoring the crucifix properly starting today? The first step is to find a special place in your home where it will be visible and where you can dedicate moments of prayer. It should not be hidden away or placed somewhere where it is easily overlooked. The crucifix should be in a place where its presence serves as a daily reminder of the importance of faith. The next step is to make prayer a constant practice. It is not just about looking at the crucifix, but about speaking from the heart. Padre Pio recommended saying at least a brief prayer each day in front of the crucifix, offering worries to God, giving thanks for received blessings, and asking for protection over the family. This simple habit can bring a profound transformation to the life of anyone who practices it with faith. Padre Pio also taught that the crucifix should be blessed by a priest before being placed in the home. This is not just a formality, but a way to consecrate it as a channel of divine blessings. If you have a crucifix that has never been blessed, consider taking it to a church to receive this special grace. Another important point is teaching children the value of the crucifix from an early age. There is no better way to ensure that future generations remain on the path of faith than by instilling respect and love for the cross during childhood. Parents and grandparents can teach children to make the sign of the cross when they wake up, before they sleep, and in times of difficulty. These small actions can make a significant difference in their spiritual growth. It is also essential to remember that the crucifix is not a magical object, but a symbol of faith that must be accompanied by a life in harmony with spiritual values. Having a crucifix in your home means nothing if your daily actions do not reflect love, compassion, and gratitude. Padre Pio emphasized that those who truly seek the protection of the crucifix should strive to live in peace with others, practice charity, and remain strong in prayer. There are countless testimonies of people who, upon beginning to honor the crucifix correctly, have seen remarkable changes in their lives. Families that were in crisis found reconciliation. People who were consumed by anxiety experienced an unexplainable peace, and homes filled with constant conflict began to feel a deep sense of harmony. This is why this message is a call to all those who feel in their hearts that they need a transformation in their lives. It is time to stop seeing the crucifix as just an object and start treating it for what it truly is: a shield of protection, a source of blessings, and a reminder of the greatest love that exists. If you have not given the crucifix the importance it deserves until now, today is the perfect opportunity to start. You can begin with a simple act. Approach it, say a sincere prayer, and commit to honoring it daily. Sometimes the biggest changes in life start with small gestures, and this decision can make a profound difference in your spiritual journey. Padre Pio left a clear message for those who wish to receive the blessings that come through the crucifix. Do not ignore it, do not take it lightly, and do not let the opportunity to make it a real part of your life pass you by. Today, you have the chance to renew your faith and open your home to deeper divine protection. If this message has touched your heart, it is because the call to faith is still alive within you. Do not let time pass without acting. Place the crucifix at the center of your home and your life. Make prayer a daily habit, and trust that every time you look at the cross, you are reminded that you are never alone. Now is the time to decide whether you want to receive this blessing. Today, you can begin this path of spiritual renewal, strengthen your faith, and allow the crucifix to be the guiding light in your life.